Awesome. So I will just press record because there are a few people that would love to hear you guys speak today, but can't make it. So yeah, if we can, if possible, I know a few of you have kids, but we'd love to see your beautiful faces as well, if you can possibly put your cameras on, everyone. But we'll start us off, and thank you so much, Rob and Rhia, aka the Lovies, for jumping on our team call tonight. Really appreciate it, and we thought you guys would be the perfect people to jump on because you're on absolute fire right now. For you guys that don't know, Rob and Rhia, they've recently won all expenses paid trip to Fiji, but all up in their Isagenix career have won 6 all expenses paid trips, so it's pretty awesome. Rob was a landscaper and Rhia was a teacher, and both do photography, which you can check out their social media. It's pretty impressive. But yeah, these two are living the van life at the moment, and some of the loveliest people you'll ever meet. So we're really excited to have you guys on. Thanks so much.
Pleasure. Thanks for having us.
Yeah, it's a blessing to be on and an honour. So thank you so much for inviting us on.
Oh, thanks, guys. Awesome. So we'll kick straight into it. And a lot of people probably don't know your story on here. So you could start us off telling us a bit about your story, before Isagenix, and then how you got started.
Yeah, absolutely. So again, Ness, thanks so much for having us, and Calvin, your team. It's absolutely awesome to be on with you guys. We love you guys, and we're so pumped to be sharing tonight. And yeah, I suppose our story started just a little over 4 years ago. As Ness touched on, I was a landscaper. I was actually a landscaper for 15 years. So straight away, there's a bit of a clue for anybody that's jumping on tonight that anybody can do this, right? So landscaper for 15 years, worked on my own a lot of the time, backyards, working in the mud, playing in the mud, just landscaping away, not really loving life so much. It wasn't a bad job, but I certainly didn't get up every day super excited to be doing it. Rhia and I had been married for around about 4 years when we were introduced to Isagenix, and just prior to that, I'd been suffering from gut health issues for 15 years as well. So my whole landscaping career, health-wise, I've been suffering from really, really bad gut health issues, lacked a lot of energy, even though we were super healthy. We ate clean, we ate organic where we could, we grew our own veggies, we did everything so-called society's way, and I still struggled with a lot of things. And on top of that, we just didn't want to do what we were doing for another 40 years. It was as simple as that. So we decided to pursue Isagenix and network marketing with zero skill. Rhia will obviously share a little bit about her background and knowledge, but personally for me, I had no idea what was going on. I just rolled with it, and we were sort of ignorance on fire at the start, which I believe is the best way to be. So that's a little bit about me. I could go on and on, but I'm sure Rhia has some awesome things to share too.
Yeah, and look, guys, as we go, if you do any questions or if something comes up and you're like, what are these Aussies even talking about? I don't get it. What's this? Just type it in the chat and we'll endeavour to address everything.
I think she's touching on my slang there, just quietly.
No. Slang's amazing. No, but it's just such a blessing to be on, guys. We're so stoked to be on here with you, and it's so crazy. Like, we still remember meeting Ness and Kelv on our very first trip that we were paid to go on over in Las Vegas, and it was just the most incredible time. We went across after the event to LA and we did a big road trip, and gosh, it feels like yesterday. So yeah, it's just phenomenal, the people who you meet. But just backtracking, to fill in a bit more about my story, as Ness said, I was a teacher. I was actually a PE and health teacher for nearly 9 years when we started this journey. And the funny thing was when I went through school and, you know, started uni, I was just doing what I thought you were meant to do. So, you know, got to year 12, halfway through year 12, and I remember sitting in the careers office with the careers teacher, and she's like, I said, I don't know what I want to do. How am I meant to choose right now? That's crazy. She said, well, what do you like? I said, well, I like people. I like being outdoors. I like health and fitness. So PE teaching was what I put at the top, and that's what I got. So I spent 4 years in Melbourne studying, ended up on the east coast of Victoria at Lakes Entrance, for any of you who have maybe been over there. I know that Calvin Ness have. But yeah, ended up teaching, and I met Lovey, and it was so funny because we together, when we met, made a pact, and it was about when I started teaching, I said, I'll give it 10 years. I said that to Lovey. I'm going to give teaching 10 years and then I'll see. But we did make a pact together, and that pact was about setting a new standard for married couples. And, you know, I think just even having that agreement together then led to us being open to what would come into our lives, to live each day to the fullest and to spend more time with each other. Because let me assure you guys, we weren't living a bad life. We weren't unhappy. We had a couple of properties. We had careers we enjoyed. We got to see each other a lot, and in the time that we spent together, we surfed, we went camping, we made the most of every second. But I can tell you now, Lovey running a landscaping business, leaving at 5 a.m. on a Monday morning, getting back at 5 p.m. on a Friday night, I was thinking to myself, this surely isn't how it's meant to look, even though a lot of other people were doing it. So we was open, and it was my best friend from uni who was running women's retreats in Bali. And I saw what she was doing. I was so proud of her. I reached out to a post that she put up. In hindsight, it would have been one of those posts that we're told to put out, right? Like a bit of a power post where it's like, hey, this is what I'm doing. It wasn't even a call to action, but I just said to her, I'm so proud of you. I wrote her a message. She said, we should Skype. And that wasn't unusual for her. On that Skype, she mentioned Isagenix. I said, I've kind of heard of it. She sent me some like links to check out. Lovey very reluctantly checked them out. I was a health and PE teacher, so I felt like, what have we got to do to eat shakes? Like, that doesn't really align with eating from the garden, eating organic. But the next thing we knew, we were on a plane to Brisbane, and our first exposure, other than those links and a 3-way Zoom call, was the event celebration. So here we are sitting in the crowd, Peter Kelly speaking, Ben Kelly speaking, John Anderson. The first shake Lovey ever had was from the shake bar next door in World of Isagenix. So that was the kickoff.
So what you'll find, guys, throughout this is you're going to hear a lot of clues being dropped along the way, and see if you can pick up on them, because that clue there is get people to events.
Yeah.
Right?
We'll get them on a 3-way call first with your experts.
Well, that's right. But events, right, like we're still here 4 and a bit years later after that event, not knowing a thing about Isagenix. So, you know, flying up there, we will never leave this company because we saw too much and we had our eyes open too much. So get yourself to events and get your team to events, because they will build your business for you.
Yeah.
Definitely.
Anything else you wanted to share?
Well, did you want us to go more into our story?
Oh no, that's awesome. Thank you so much. And yeah, such an awesome story. I love how your first shake was at that, you know, shake bar. But, you know, it's pretty cool that you guys were open-minded enough and really trusted your friend enough to go along to the event. And, you know, sometimes it's about timing, but, you know, really finding those people that are going to, you know, be open-minded to say yes to those kind of things. So that's so cool. And so along the way.
Am I cutting? I was just going to say just a couple of things on that, just so people know, like, you're absolutely right. Look for those people who are open and speak into what's going to matter to them. Like Sarah, my friend, at the end of the day said, just come up. It's a weekend in Sunshine State. Come and check it out. at the very least, you'll get to hang out with an epic crew of humans for the weekend. We were like, massive tick. You can meet my boyfriend at the time. You know, we'll go out for dinners. We'll have fun drinks. I was like, come on, lovey, we need a weekend away. Like, that's even how I was looking at it. And then, of course, the icing on top, which we weren't aware of at the time, was Isagenix and celebration. And yeah, moving beyond that, like, the rest is history to an extent, but we can obviously talk into how the start of our journey looked, if that would be beneficial for some of your team. I'm not sure if you've got sort of people, you know, new on here or years in or whatever.
Yeah. Well, we've actually got quite a mix of people. I know Rosetta is really new, but the other guys have all come to events and definitely know the impact of them, for sure. So, but I'd love you to go into some details about how the start of your journey looked like what was the, you know, what were the kind of actions that you took after the event, or what were some realizations you got from that event?
Yeah, I love that. And look, it's really still to this day quite clear how our journey started. From that event, our eyes were open to the fact that, okay, if we're going to give this a crack, we're going to give it a red hot crack. So our 30 days started that Monday after. We were sitting in the park on South Bank in Brisbane by the lagoon, and we got our packs ordered. And we knew that the goal was to get to consultant that week. So Lovey's mum also got started, and her journey's been phenomenal in itself. She's lost 25 kilos and maintained that. So, you know, that's just been incredible. But from that day forward, we just worked really closely with our mentor at the time. We knew from that event, 3 by 3 by 3 was the minimum. So I had my little notebook. Every morning I'd get up, I'd do my gratitude. So I'd do like 3 gratitudes. I'd do 3 new connections, 3 follow-ups, which at the beginning, it's like I'm kind of following up the same people for a bit of time, and then pouring love into 3 people. So that's how we started this journey. 2 weeks in, we were at a retreat over in Bali with our team. So that was awesome. Like, we were thrown in the deep end with that. But I can tell you right now, guess what we learned at that retreat? Our 30-second story. You share, they share, repeat. We were having to do it on repeat. So we left that retreat. This is within our first 30 days, remember, and 30 days in Bali. So yes, we said no to cocktails. Yes, we said no to bintangs. Yes, we still went out with the crew, but we still had our 2 shakes a day. So don't let anybody tell you, oh, I might just wait another 30 days. Oh, I've got this coming up. It's like, yeah, we know. Everyone's got something in 30 days. So what are you waiting for? But we learned those things to a T. So, you know, that just gives another example of something that, you know, made a big difference to the start of our journey.
Well, and we shared the money from the start. Like, we only had 30 days to hit manager back then. Now, obviously, you've got 60 days after enrolling your first person. But back then, you had as soon as you ordered your pack, your countdown was on. We had 30 days and hit Crystal Manager while we were in Bali on the last day. So we were sharing the money from the start and creating consultants from, you know, our first week.
Yeah. Encouraging those posts to go up and just getting back to the people who were responding to that.
Mm-hmm. Wow, that's pretty impressive. And yeah, doing that in 30 days, but then also while you were over in Bali. So yeah, it's awesome. And you kind of, you know, you had no excuses from the start. So I'm pretty sure that's, you know, what's got you to where you are today. So that's pretty impressive. And so throughout your journey, what kind of challenges did you come across? You know, I'm sure there would have been a few in the 4 years that you've been doing Isagenix. So maybe can you explain some of the challenges from, you know, being at the event, being pumped up, to those challenges and how you kind of got through them and overcame them?
Yeah, for sure. So we got thrown a curveball from the very first day. So we obviously were that pumped up about celebration. It was the biggest one Isagenix had in Australia at the time until last year. Decided to put all our our friends in the one messenger thread. Don't recommend it, but we decided to do that and tell them how awesome this event was, rah, rah, rah. And one by one, they all left the thread. Now, to this day, I believe it's the best thing that ever happened, because those particular friends weren't friends, because anybody that doesn't support you on this journey isn't actually your friend. A friend is someone that may not want to do what you're doing, but will always support you. So that happened for a reason, and we just chose to open new doors. And if those guys wanted to follow us or not, it was totally up to them. We respected where they were at, but we just walked the other way. And again, it's the best thing that ever happened. So being okay with that. So many people get attached to pleasing everybody else and get stuck on what their so-called friends believe they should be doing. Again, I've got people from back then that aren't interested in Isagenix but still ask how it's going. So to me, that's a great friend. So that was something from the very beginning. I suppose just quickly to roll off the back of that, I didn't enroll anyone for my first 10 months. So Rhia and I were building this together, and we were actually butting heads because Rhia was a very confident, outgoing school teacher, and I was a shy, introverted tradie. So it took me 10 months to get past and develop my skills and my own self-belief to be able to share it and enroll with people, or get past the rejection of people not wanting to do it. And we were butting heads because Rhia was doing the work and I wasn't yet. I was still cooking dinner, doing the cleaning, doing the washing, respecting where Rhia was at. And the day that we both respected that and came to a mutual agreement that we had separate strengths was the day that our business really started to become congruent and move in that really, I suppose, nice direction, because we weren't at each other's throats anymore. So, you know, if you're a couple and your partner isn't doing it but is respecting you, love on them, because that's all they need. Don't try and drag them into it. Just make sure that they understand that you appreciate everything they're doing.
Yeah, yeah. And off the back of that as well, I think just speaking into even the fact that with that, you know, Lovey was sharing about his support still of where I was at, and we didn't miss an event. Like, even though Lovey was still like umming and ahhing, and I still remember his first UIA in Melbourne, didn't want to go, actually didn't want to be there, claimed that he was a white at the back of the room, okay? So if you're looking at someone who's progressed from a bright white at the back of the room to like red, fire, like, you know, dominating. So it's awesome, and people can really step into that. But, you know, we didn't miss an event. Now, that also could have been a challenge. Like, I don't actually see any of this as challenges. At the time, sure, but it's all part of your journey so that it refines your character, it refines your personality for where you need to be and who you're growing into and how you're expanding. So we lived at Phillip Island at the time, both working full-time. I was a full-time teacher, Lovey full-time landscaper. We were already doing side hustles, you guys. I had a photography business on the side. We were Airbnb super hosts. So, you know, when, again, if people say, give you the challenge that I don't have time for this, it's in the cracks of that time. And we still didn't miss an event, to the point that every fortnight when Wellness Wednesday was running in St Kilda in Melbourne, through peak hour traffic, we would get in the car, we would travel 2 hours to that 1 hour event, and we would just glean, we would just meet people. We started stepping up, we'd share our story. Lovey would really not appreciate it when I'd put my hand up for us to do that, but now look at him. We would MC the night and then we'd drive back home. We might hang out for a bit and then we'd drive back home like an hour and a half without the traffic. So guys, that's nearly a 4-hour turnaround just traveling to get to those Wellness Wednesdays. So some people would look at that as a challenge. We didn't. We just knew that that was what it took. It took staying amongst the community, being a part of that, extending and expanding yourselves, and, you know, obviously fitting that in to the cracks of everything else. And look, another challenge that you know, again, a lot of people, it's just a part of our journey. I was speaking to a friend about this today, but it was actually 10 months into our journey. We found out that...
And just before Rhia gets too deep, I think she thought there was a mozzie on her arm, but that was me. Before we get too deep into what Rhea's about to share, there's a reason in this business, guys, you want to run fast, okay? Because Rhea's about to share something with you. I obviously know the story. And because we ran fast at the start, because it's like an aeroplane, right? It's the analogy, an aeroplane needs speed to take off. You want to run fast. This business isn't for going slow, and you'll obviously understand with this story why you want to run as fast as you can, because you don't know what's going to happen tomorrow.
Yeah, and that was essentially what we'd done. So, you know, we'd created a really phenomenal business in that time. We hit it wasn't Crystal Director, actually. We hit Director without knowing. So this is how we were ignorance on fire, you guys. Like, we were just doing what we knew we had to do, 3 by 3 by 3, getting people paid, you know, like, and we didn't even know. I thought to hit Director, you needed 3 consultants each side. So I knew what Director was, but I had the misinterpretation. I didn't know it could be 6 consultants anywhere. So we hit Director without even knowing. We were just going. Then it got to the November. So we started in the March. It got to the November, and we were given the news that my mum was diagnosed with brain cancer, and she was given 1 month to live, you guys. So I tell you this because you just got to stop for a second, and you've got to go, who do I love most in my life? Who's my best friend? And you stop and you think about that, and then you're told that you're going to see them for 1 more month, right? I'm still teaching, but because we said yes to IsaGenics, you guys, because we said yes, Lovey walked into my school. He said, Rhea's not going to come back. She's going to spend the time with her mum, and he resigned me from teaching. And we'd replace my teaching wage, so we were able to do that. We were able to do that. And you know what? Bless my mum. She had 4 months left with us. So you can only imagine 4 months, like that's an even bigger blessing. But it did highlight a lot, and a lot shifted in that time in terms of our perspective and in terms of what's driving us. And you know what, you guys? From that moment, in the January, Crystal Reset launched. Guess what we hit 2 weeks later? Crystal Executive. A couple of months after that, 2-star. And then a couple of months after that, that's when we went to...
Uluru, Top Achievers.
Yes, we had Top Achievers. We went to ISA Derby, like, because it was fire, you guys. We knew, like, it was, we were hungry, because I would believe that my mum would live. So I'm like, well, I'm going to be with her till every day. So this is happening. This business is happening. And you know what? When it didn't happen for her, it's part of our journey. It's part of what has set us up now and has formed part of our perspective and the people who we can speak into their lives now as well. Because, you know, people, it happens to a lot of people. You know, they lose family members or people get sick. So,
and 2 things there, guys. 1, don't use things as an excuse. Use them as a reason.
Yes.
So we hear it all the time. Oh, this is happening. I've had to stop using the shakes. My mum's gone into hospital. I've had to stop eating healthy food. While Rhea's mum was in hospital for a month, we were frothing on IsaGenics. We were eating more of IsaGenics. Would you rather eat the hospital food or IsaGenics? We were sneaking our blender in, stealing ice from the nurse's room. We were eating. We got healthier while Rhea's mum was dying because we used more of the product, right? So don't use it as an excuse. And the second thing is the community of IsaGenics saved our lives. Mm. If we had have quit IsaGenics at the time we needed it the most, we would not have a clue where we would be now. And the other thing, guys, is 2 days after burying Rhea's mum. So if anybody ever tells you they can't make celebration because they've got to move house or whatever their lame excuse is, get them on a phone call to us. Because 2 days after burying Rhea's mum, we were on the plane at celebration. 2 days after, because we needed that community. We needed to keep going. Life doesn't stop when somebody passes away or shitty things happen. It still goes on, and use that to fuel your fire, because too many people just allow it to knock them off the perch when that's when they need it the most.
Wow. Yes, so true. And wow, you guys pretty much really got me going there. I've been emotional the last 2 weeks with the third trimester.
Yeah, can I just jump in quickly there, Ness?
Yeah, of course.
Yeah, and I just want to say, hey, thank you guys so much for sharing that with us. And I know that would have been a really hard time as well, and just everything you went through. And thank you so much for sharing. Yeah, it really means a lot to all of us. And like you obviously said, when you were going through that and everything, what kind of things were you doing? Like you said, you're obviously using the products like they were going out of fashion, but what else were you doing at that time? You were talking about you went to Crystal Executive on the reset. What kind of actions was happening in that time, because you were just frothing so hard? Like, what did that kind of look like?
Yeah, that's a great question. Well, personally for me, there was quite a lot of interesting energy that was going around. As you can imagine, when Rhea's mum got diagnosed with brain cancer, there was some anger floating around with particular family members, okay? And obviously Rhea and I have done some development, and people were looking for somebody to release their anger on. And of course, the one person that was there 24/7 was me, because we had that opportunity, because we were bringing in a residual income. So thank God. I thank God every day for personal development, because it actually kept me level-headed through a time that the family needed me. And I understood through a lot of personal development, not take it personally. I knew that people were angry at the situation, not at me. So I did a lot of personal development. The 4 agreements probably saved me from running people over in my ute or doing something that I would have regretted for a long time. But that just kept me level. All out action. You got no idea, guys. Like Rhea's family, dead against us doing network marketing. So while Rhea's mum, and we were there full time, so again, it heightened that network marketing had created it to be able to have that time. I was going out into the ute at 10 o'clock at night in the driveway in the pitch black while everybody else was asleep, and doing phone calls, 3-way calls, just all out action in every gap we could, because there was no possible way of being able to do that in the house, because there was too much bad energy being thrown away. So a lot of self-development. Honestly, guys, if you're not doing some sort of PD every day, like I went through a period of thinking I didn't need it anymore, and I listened to something every day. Don't get addicted to it, but 30 minutes a day, fill your mind with something network marketing, something personal development-wise, and action, right? It was just, what do we got to do? What do we got to do? I can't sleep now because I've got lives to change. What if Rhea's mum does survive, or what if she goes tomorrow? We've just got to keep going. So they were 2 things to me. Rhea was a machine at the time as well. Every time her mum was asleep, she was doing what she could as well.
Yeah, and thank you so much for all the love, guys. We really do appreciate it. And, it does highlight one other thing that we've always done, and we encourage you guys to do, is to reach out to other leaders. And you guys are so blessed with who you have as your mentors and coaches and leaders in Ness and Kelv, and we had to reach out to other leaders. So at the time, my beautiful friend who got us started, grateful for her every day, she was over in Bali, so basically not able to be contacted. And I don't know if any of you were around at this time, but Heidi McCallan, one of the amazing, she's a top 10 income earner in Australia and New Zealand, she was running, it was like a 90-day action plan or something, but she had a book for it, and to qualify to get into her page, you had to fill out this 40-page booklet. So guess what I was doing when mum was asleep? in the hospital room, I was filling out that booklet. So I remember like going over, learning about the products, learning about the business, making new lists, sending out messages. So it was just making offers. It was making connections. It was staying consistent through it all. And like Lovey said, it was actually fuel to our fire. You know, like it could have been very easy to go, okay, mum's asleep, I'm going to crawl into a ball and cry now. But it was the opposite. It was like, mum's asleep, I'm going to do whatever I can for her right now. Like, yeah.
And the other thing, guys, is it was almost, you know, we always look at the bright side and we look at what blessings we were able to take away from it. And it forced some of our guys to step up. We would have to reach out to some of our guys that were teetering on the borderline of leadership and say, listen, we've got to take Rhea's mum in for chemo at the moment. We need you to step up and run a 3-way call, follow the template. And they started doing it. And then all of a sudden they weren't always relying on us. So, you know, the silver lining there was we created or leaders were forced to be created. So if you are babysitting and holding people's hands, stop doing it. You know, ask them to step up and help you. And you'll be surprised that when needed, people will step up. So don't be afraid to ask.
Yeah,
definitely. That's awesome. No, thanks for sharing,
guys. Thank you.
And as well, with you said in the first 10 months, Rob, with Isagenix, you didn't have that self-belief just, you know, with network marketing, but, you know, with yourself as well. And I was wondering, over that 10 months and even over the 4 years, you know, what kind of development have you done to get that self-belief? Because I definitely relate to you with that. And I think a lot of people do when starting sharing Isagenix, is that, you know, it can be a little bit scary for people when that self-belief isn't there. So, yeah, can you share a bit about how you overcame that?
Yeah, absolutely. So audio books are my best friend. Obviously, I was a landscaper at the time and I was a machine operator. I believe audios are the best anyway because you can leverage your time a lot better. You know, every time we got in the car, we didn't have the radio on. We'd listen to audio, and we still do now. We don't listen to the radio. We continue to listen to self-development. So honestly, the 4 agreements that I mentioned earlier, game changer. You can imagine a tradie listening to 4 agreements for the first time with the flutes going off and all that stuff. I was like, what the heck? But I knew I needed it. I knew that there was something that needed to be worked on, and I made a decision to push through that, and I love it now. Like, I've listened to that book probably 30 or 40 times. I still go back to it every now and again when I feel my mind wander. Obviously, listening to network marketing specific audio books is important as well, because at the end of the day, we want to become professional network marketers. So GoPro, of course, by Eric Worre was the first book we actually listened to, and again, listened to it over and over again. And then we were blessed at the time as we didn't see it or hear from our mentor a lot. She wasn't really all in the game, but the one thing she did do was get us to do our values, the D Martini values test, and turned out I had a shocking money mindset. Money in, money out. That was my philosophy. So, you know, never ever had any money. That was just a blueprint passed down from my family, okay? And you've got to break that. So she got us to do the values test, and then, of course, that directs you towards what you actually need. We don't actually all need the same things. So Secrets of the Millionaire Mind, she put me onto. So a really great audio book based around your money mindset and your work ethic. And after listening to that, I was on fire. Like, I absolutely started crushing not just my landscaping, but Isagenix and everything that we were, you know, pursuing at that time. So there are 3 audio books that I listened to in that first year. And then, of course, events. And podcasts. Back then we had the, what was that with the millionaires on the Monday night? platinum calls. So we had platinum calls. So again, they were isogenic specific calls. So we listened to them every week without missing them. Never missed a team call. Even if we're out for dinner, whatever, we would go out and jump on the team call. And then I was blessed to have Rhia push me because, you know, she would put her hand up and say, yep, we're sharing our story this week. And I'm like, well, you know what? I'm afraid of public speaking. How am I going to get over that? Public speak. And through doing that development beforehand, I understood that it was okay to stuff up. And here's my number one tip. If you're afraid of public speaking, ask yourself this question when you're sitting in the crowd. Do you judge the person that's on stage if they muck up a few words, or are you admiring them for being there? And when I thought that, I thought, I never judge anyone if they muck up. I wish I was up there. So when I thought that, I thought nobody would judge because it'll only be them judging themselves on what they're afraid of if they are. So that was, you know, they tell you to picture people naked and all that type of thing, whatever works for you. I gave that a crack. It depended who was in the crowd. But, that was the biggest game changer for me, was really saying, I don't judge people, so I know that they won't be judging me. I'm going to muck up. It's fine. The only way to get better is to stuff up. And now I love public speaking. Like, get me up anytime. You won't get me off stage. So it's like anything. You've got to continue to practice.
Awesome. That's so cool. Thank you for sharing those. I'll write them down on our team page as well, so you guys can have them there to check out if you want to. But yeah, definitely recommend some of those as well. I haven't listened to the 4 agreements, so that's going to be next on my list. So thank you. And is there any there was a question that a team member wanted to ask. They are struggling with knowing they know what to do in this business, but they're finding that they're just not taking the actions every day to move forward in it. Do you guys find that you have those days where you don't feel like doing anything, and you know, what do you do then?
Yeah, so it's funny you bring that up because it's literally been something that we've spoken about the last couple of days. Even though we're 4 years into this, scheduling, trust me, you've got to schedule, because I get overwhelmed a lot. Like, I've got this crazy entrepreneurial mind. Rhia was a school teacher, very structured. So together we can make it work, but quite often I get overwhelmed and I don't do anything. Right? And that's because my mind's like, I know I've got to connect with people, I've got to follow up, I've got to do a post, I've got to get into this page, right? There's all these things happening, and that will be what is stopping most people, is the overwhelm. Like, where do I even start? There's not many things you've got to do in this business to make it work. You've just got to consistently do the same things, right? It's mastering the mundane. So it's connecting with people, okay? So schedule it. Today I'm going to connect with people for 15 minutes. Before I go to work, I'm going to connect with 3 new people. Simple, right? Like Rhia said, we got to Crystal Executive, created a couple of executives, won a few trips just by doing 3 by 3 by 3. So it doesn't have to be massive, but make sure you schedule it and just focus on that. Just focus on your connecting. When you do that, you've done it. I still find now, and I did it this morning, we were scheduling and something would pop into my mind. I'm like, oh, I better do that now. And then I'm like, no, hang on. That's in the schedule. Wait until you finish the thing that you were doing, okay? Because we're the masters of getting sidetracked. So get this thing, and if you're not working on it, put it somewhere else, because every time it buzzes, you're going to pick it up and you're going to get sidetracked. So Rhia and I, it's like, right, I put the phone down. Let's schedule together. Let's not get sidetracked, and write down what we need to do and just tick the boxes. It's connecting. It's following up. It's do a Facebook post. One Facebook post is get something up, but schedule your posts as well. Make sure you know what's coming up, because again, you'll get on there, you'll be like, oh, do I do this? Do I do that? I'm not sure what to post. So have your days set out as well.
And a quick side encouragement to that, if you're one of those people, because I know it's a very common topic at the moment, it's like, why would I bother posting when I get 3 likes, 5 likes, 10 likes? No one's even seeing my stuff. Guys, just stay consistent with it. Trust us. We've had silent watchers. So by silent watchers, I mean don't like, don't comment, no, nothing on anything. And then 6 months later, been watching what you're doing. I want what you have.
And our best
It's like,
builder.
oh, right. Our best builder. Yeah, she's just crystal director. And the other thing, just on social media, not to divert, but Facebook Lives. If you can do 1 Facebook Live a week, you are going to start to really really dive through that algorithm. Whatever.
Perfect. So, and then for anybody that doesn't get that, Facebook will only allow your posts to go so far. If you do Facebook Lives, way more people will see your posts.
Especially if you're all sharing your lives together. We encourage that.
100%. So, yeah, honestly, Ness, you've just got to schedule. It is the key to this. You don't have to you're better off doing 30 minutes of all-out action and tick the boxes than fluff around for 4 hours in this.
Yeah.
You can smash this business out if you've got your 4 or 5 steps written down. Tick the box once it's done, it's done. That's your business starting to grow.
Yeah, and I've got 3 questions to ask that particular person, if that's you or if it's someone that you know. The first question is, what does your morning look like? And the reason I ask that is because also talking about scheduling, if you don't have a miracle morning scheduled in, now when I say miracle morning, it can look a number of different ways, but at least starting with 15 minutes for you. Keep the phone on airplane mode, keep it in the other room, get up, do some stretches, say 5 things that you're grateful for. At the very least, do that. At the very least, do that, okay?
I was just going to jump in, guys. That's changed the game. Like, I was never like a morning person, which is always, it's a mindset thing. But if you're starting your morning slowly, that's going to spread through your whole day and your energy's going to be low. So don't stare at your phone, get up, move, do some gratitudes, whatever that looks like for you, but don't look at your phone. Put your phone in the drawer for the first 15 minutes. It's not going to change your life if you don't look at it. Trust me.
Yeah, your morning is setting up your day. So that's my first question. What does your mornings look like? My second question is, why are you doing this? Because in all honesty, if you know what you've got to do and you're just not quite doing it, have you lost track why you're doing it? Is it not clear to you anymore? Have you dug deep enough on that? So I would explore that question. And then my third question is, what have you actually got written down that you feel you need to do? Because what I feel is, if it's like the compound effect, like Lovey's saying, 3 by 3 by 3, like you do a little bit consistently over a period of time and you will see results. What we find a lot of people do is, if they know they're keen on this business, they want an additional income online, they know what they've got to do, but they're just not doing it. My inkling may be that that person is having too many things on their to-do list. I've got to connect with 50 people, and then I've got to set up three-way calls, and I'm doing 2 events this week too, and I've still got to do my personal development, and it's like, it's too much. It's too much. So break it back down and look at what are the income producing activities. Yes, PD is important, but that's in the 20%. The 80% is income producing. So what is going to produce income, and focus on that. Like Lovey said, it's making connections with people. It's making an offer. It's inviting to events. It's getting people set up in 3-way calls. So chunk it down, make it fun. Put a 15-minute timer on and see how many of each of those things you can do. Some people like to do 15-minute blocks of one thing and focus on that one thing. Others like to go, well, I'm going to bounce around. I'm going to send out 3 invites to an event. Then I'm going to send out 3 invitations to our next campaign. And then I'm going to ask 3 people. I'm going to say, hey, I'm going to link you up with my beautiful mentor, Ness, because I'm going to be catching up with her next week, and I'd love you to catch up with her with me. So, just make it fun.
And here's the...
Sorry, to interrupt just real quickly. I just wanted to ask quickly, because I know you guys have a really, especially you, Robbie, have a really great way of, and you're pretty straight up with people. Like, what are some of the things that you actually say when you're reaching out to people? Because I know you're very straight up, and sometimes we can beat around the bush or whatever, or have a conversation. But like, what are some of the things that you say just to get straight into that conversation with people that are so good at connecting?
Yeah, I love that, mate. And you're right. Like, Rhea's got more blue in her, and I don't have much blue at all. So, I definitely don't beat around the bush, mate. I cut bushes down. I was a landscaper and I had a chainsaw. So I literally got straight to the point. But I think, lately we've been doing the Lulu. So you guys are in Jen's downline. You would have seen it's just literally doing the Kim Claver Lulu technique, which is and I'm loving it because it's getting to the no quicker, right? The number one income earners in network marketing just have more no's than everybody else, because of course that creates more yeses, right? It's simple. Celebrate the no's. Don't get upset with them. You're going to get a whole lot of them if you're going to make a lot of money in this industry. And so, effectively it's just going straight to the point. It's asking, it's engaging with them. Hey, Cal, getting you to write back, question for you. And then it's just boom. Do you have an interest in cleansing energy and better sleep? I lead a lot with the business. Do you have an interest in an additional stream of income? Because if they don't, then I've just saved myself a whole lot of time, because we can chit chat. At the end of the day, you're going to have to ask the question anyway. And would you rather just ask straight away without a hidden agenda, or beat around the bush for that person to turn around and go, oh, that was gross. You literally just spoke to me 10 times to get to a point. Why didn't you just do it at the start? I know personally for me, I'm like, I would rather someone just say, hey, mate, are you open to this? Because I'd say yes or no. It's like, don't try and bullcrap to me. People I have network marketers approach me every day and they don't tell me they're network marketers. It's like, I know you're a network marketer. I can tell I'm a network marketer. What do you do? Oh, I do this thing. I impact lives. I'm like, you're a network marketer. I've already stalked your page and saw Juice Plus on there. It's like, just get to the friggin' point, because I already know. So don't be weird about it, right? We have the best industry in the world. Honestly, I believe that. I'm doing a live series on my Facebook now on network marketing, because for too long we've beat around the bush with it. And if you believe in this industry, tell people what it is, because the weirder we are about it and the more we beat around the bush, the more people are going to have the stigma about it. But when somebody asks me what I do, I say I'm a professional network marketer. It's as simple as that, because that's what I am. So, and people respect that. They're like, oh, cool, that's awesome. Or they'll go, what's that? Or they'll go, oh, network marketing, I don't want anything to do with that. And then it opens up, why not? Oh, because your uncle 40 years ago had someone try and sell him something. It's 2019, everybody's, so, it's just like, get to the point, because people actually want that. You're gonna get rich quicker. Okay, and I don't mean you're going to get rich quick, but you will make an income. The faster you move, the faster you get to the point. You may have people you really want to create a relationship with, so do that. Everybody has a different personality, but personally, it's just ask the question, because you're going to get the answer.
Yeah, awesome. That's great. And I know that helped us a lot, your advice with that quite recently. And now it's just so much easier getting straight to the point, and you actually don't feel weird about it yourself, which is cool. So, no, that's so awesome. And I also loved those three questions as well that Rhia was mentioning. And I think that that's something that people can just think about or write down themselves. And, if you wanted to send us your answers to those three questions, then, we can help you out with them as well. So I think those three questions are cool. And so I've only got one last question for you guys, and then I'll let you guys shoot to your team call at, what time is it there? 7, 6, 8. 8 o'clock.
How I?
All this daylight savings. And my question is, what does your day look like now? You know, we've heard about how you started, we've heard about, you know, how you've overcome some you know, challenges that in your personal and professional lives, and you have done the work consistently. And so what does your day-to-day life look like now?
Yeah, it's a great question, Ness. And look, I suppose the first thing, and something that we've picked up on recently again, is network marketing isn't really a full-time job. Like, I believe it's something that you will build better if you're not doing it for 8, 10, 12 hours a day. Some days we do that when we've got a lot on, like today, Monday, it's a big day. It's the end of the commission week, team calls, whatnot. So today's a big day. But, you know, from start to finish, we get up now and we make sure we start our day right. We jump into the ocean first thing, just to refresh. And we're in Queensland, so that's easy to do. You can do that all year round. So we're in the water super early. We make sure that we get up nice and early. We hang out, spend the time together, because we know that we're going to be getting into action. So I think where a lot of people fall down is they focus on their phone and network marketing and business before they actually do it with each other. So yeah, we'll hang out, grab a coffee, make sure we're feeling good, getting our energy right, because we've learnt that over the years. If your energy's off, that'll go through the phone. Like, if you're feeling crappy and angry and you don't really want to be doing what you're doing, and you're telling yourself that person's not going to do isogenics, that's going to happen. If you change your energy first thing and you're in flow, that's when we'll get into action. So, you know, we connect with people, we follow up, we do social media. But me personally, I break the day up a lot. Rhea's a machine. She can just focus for 8, 10 hours at a time. Me personally, I chunk my days up into hour or 2 blocks. If I feel myself not feeling fantastic, I'll put the phone down, I'll go for another swim, or I'll go do something that really lights me up for a little while, do some exercise. So, yeah, that's effectively, it's pretty simple. We just do the do. We still follow those steps.
Yeah.
But then we focus on some other avenues of cash flow, because that's important too. It's really important that you're, you know, bringing in other avenues, because if this gets too much and it's too much pressure, again, people will feel that. You'll be like a desperate bloke at the pub at the end of a Saturday night. Hey, Cal, they'll sniff it out from a mile away.
Mate, I'm always a desperate. You know that.
What exactly are they sniffing, Coach?
Yeah.
We don't know. We don't know that.
Don't want to know.
Oh, that's awesome. Well, thank you so much, guys. That's just so much gold there. And yeah, I hope you guys had a pen and paper, because yeah, I've been writing down like crazy as well. So thank you so much for those tips and your, you know, sharing your story with us. You guys are just such an inspiration to, you know, Calvin and I. And yeah, we've definitely, you know, had so much fun getting to know you guys, and just like created this amazing friendship with you over the last couple of years. And like you said at the beginning, you know, that's what this is all about, really finding some of those best friends that you're going to have for life. So yeah, thank you so much for jumping on.
Absolute pleasure.
I was just going to say, I love that that you guys just kind of, you know, uprooted, grabbed a van, and now you're just being professional network marketers, driving the Gold Coast and Sunshine Coast, and, you know, living it up. It's bloody awesome to see, guys. So thank you so much for giving us your time, and we really appreciate it.
No worries, brother. Thanks so much for having us, guys, and hopefully you got a nugget or two out of that. And yeah, shout out if there's ever anything that we can do to help anybody.
Oh, thank you so much. Yeah, that's awesome. Christus just said she'd love to live in a van.
Do it.
Do it. Yeah, awesome. All right, we'll let you go, guys. Thank you so much, and have an awesome week.
No worries, you too. See you guys.
Thanks, guys.
See you guys.
Bye.
Bye.
See ya.